On World News Tonight, this Wednesday, another nasty day in Washington. Will other politicians now have their lives turned upside down? American fishing boats full of unsold fish, containers going to Asia empty. We'll take a closer look at the rest of the world and the American economy. And what are micro flyers, the new age of surveillance technology on the cutting edge?
From ABC News World Headquarters in New York, this is World News Tonight with Peter Jennings.
Good evening. Yes, it did get nastier in Washington today. The House Judiciary Committee presses on with its debate about releasing the videotapes of Mr. Clinton's grand jury testimony. Mr. Clinton declines another opportunity to be more specific about whether he lied about Monica Lewinsky. We'll hear the president in a moment, but we're going to start on Capitol Hill because a widely respected politician at the very center of any impeachment process has had his past questioned today. Here's ABC's Linda Douglas.
Almost as soon as he got the Starr report, House Judiciary Chairman Henry Hyde warned his members that things might get rough from here on out. He pointed to media reports that Mr. Clinton's supporters might try to dig up dirt on them, saying White House staff may be attempting to disseminate derogatory personal information about members of the House Judiciary Committee. Hyde called it the scorched earth policy. Hyde made clear any effort to intimidate committee members could amount to obstruction of justice. But even before he wrote that memo, Hyde had learned that the president's allies might be spreading a story about him. Two reporters have told ABC News that a senior White House official has peddled a story to them that Hyde once had a girlfriend. Another reporter said the official was offering stories of sexual escapades by Republican House members. Today, Salon magazine, an internet publication often sympathetic to the White House, broke the story that 30 years ago, Hyde had an extramarital affair. The magazine insisted the story did not come from the White House. Hyde issued a statement saying, "The statute of limitations has long since passed on my youthful indiscretions. The only purpose for this being dredged up now is an obvious attempt to intimidate me, and it won't work." Tonight, the White House put out a statement saying that they will have zero tolerance for this kind of behavior. The statement went on to say that if the White House finds out who the official is, that person will be fired. Peter?
Thanks very much, Linda Douglas. On Capitol Hill, we're also joined this evening by ABC's Cokie Roberts, who's seen this kind of thing before. Cokie, let me ask you first of all about the videotape debate. Is there any doubt on the Hill that the tapes will be released?
No, because the Republicans have the majority. And tomorrow the committee will meet and take a vote, and it'll probably be a straight partisan vote with the Republicans saying release it, Democrats saying don't, and it'll be released probably on Friday along with some other materials as well.
Sorry to interrupt. Are the Republicans all together on this?
The Republicans are all together on this. The Democrats are all together on this.
The Democrats are not.
The Democrats are all together on this, on the question of the videotape, but they're not all together on the question of the president's fate. Privately, more and more Democrats are saying that it would be more comfortable for them if the president resigns. They don't expect that to happen, but they are now conducting polls in their own districts among likely voters that show that there's much less sympathy for the president than our media polls are showing.
Okay, Cokie, thanks very much. Cokie Roberts in Washington tonight. There were plenty of questions for Mr. Clinton today, and there were no new answers. Hello. He faced reporters for the first time since the Starr report was made public on Friday at a news conference at the State Department with the president of the Czech Republic, Václav Havel. Mr. Clinton was asked if Monica Lewinsky's account of their relationship was accurate and truthful, and if he still maintains he did not lie under oath. This was his answer.
The right thing for our country and the right thing for all people concerned is not to get mired in all the details here, but to focus on what I did, to acknowledge it, to atone for it, and then to work on my family, where I still have a lot of work to do, difficult work, and to lead this country to deal with the agenda before us.
In a moment, we'll have some of the day's other news. There is a new drug to treat rheumatoid arthritis recommended to the FDA. Can it live up to the hype? Other drugs could not. And tonight, technology on the cutting edge. They look like tiny flying saucers. They'll make you think twice about that fly on the wall.
This is World News Tonight with Peter Jennings. Brought to you by Charles Schwab.
Right, Seattle. I start my job on Monday. I want to do something about my retirement plan.
Okay, no problem.
Shane, Andy, please.
Sounds like your hands are pretty full there. Don't worry about this. A rollover specialist can handle all the transfer paperwork for you and make sure you avoid penalties. We can also help you with the new tax laws.
Oh, thanks. You've been a really big help.
Oh, good. Good luck with the move.
Tonight, we had the perfect meal for us. The Olive Garden's never-ending pasta bowl. You pick any of the special pastas, and you get all the free refills you want, plus all the salad and breadsticks for $6.95. Good thing I was born hungry. The Olive Garden. When you're here, you're family.
Introducing the all-new 1999 Grand Am. Its solid form design provides a stronger body structure so you can get down to some exciting business with hardly a squeak.
Solid.
Excitement, well built. The all-new Grand Am by Pontiac.
In Washington today, advisors to the Food and Drug Administration recommended approval of a new drug to treat rheumatoid arthritis. More than 1 million people know how painful rheumatoid arthritis is. The new drug is called Enbrel, and the FDA advisors say it really does relieve pain. Trouble is, we've heard similar promises before about other arthritis drugs. Here's ABC's George Strait.
Rheumatoid arthritis is disfiguring, debilitating, and frustrating. There are dozens of medications, but they do not work for everyone. And those that do often only work for a short period of time.
Given the fact that most people have not had an adequate solution to their problem, they're very eager to leap, as are their doctors, onto some new thing that makes promises.
In some cases, those promises have produced tragedy. 16 years ago, Oriflex was withdrawn from the market after only 3 months because it caused hundreds of deaths. Another drug, Feldene, was supposed to provide long-lasting relief, but its use, as well as a number of similar drugs, have dramatically declined because they can cause internal bleeding.
Many of these drugs do have side effects. It's because to work they have to suppress the immune system.
The extent of the side effects often is not clear until after a drug is approved. This happens because the drug companies are accused of stacking the deck in their favor during clinical tests.
The people using the drug are generally sicker than the people on whom the drug was tested, and the problems start emerging after approval that would have emerged before approval if they had tested it on a more representative group of people.
The new arthritis drug recommended for approval today may turn out to be as good as it seems, but if history is a guide, it may not. George Strait, ABC News, Washington.
Here's another interesting item about research. A new study done at the University of Montreal provides some of the first scientific evidence ever that blind people actually compensate by having a better sense of hearing. The study involves only 47 people. Researchers cannot say if blindness causes physiological change or if the blind learn to use their ears more effectively. Economic news, it was a fairly quiet day on Wall Street. The Dow Jones Industrial Average rose for the 4th day in a row, up 65 points to close at 80.89. On the NASDAQ index, stocks gained just under 12 points. Northwest Airlines eased back into operation today. It's been 3 weeks since the pilots went on strike in search of more money. These flights from home base in Minneapolis this morning were among the first. It will take until next week to resume a full schedule. When we come back, rocking the boat of global trade, we'll take a closer look.
Hey, you want a green light to eat like never before? I do. Healthy Choice has a whole menu of unbelievably delicious dishes, incredible meals. New chicken stir fry with a crispy fried egg roll. Big hearty handful stuffed end to end with gooey cheese. My favorite, shrimp and vegetables with bow tie pasta and a creamy basil garlic sauce. All around 5 grams of fat. 5. There's no stopping me now. Healthy Choice. Your green light to eat what you like.
Fortunately for Millie, Dr. Espinoza was in the office early, while someone else was drafting the marketing plan to sell his home. At 11, he was making his rounds, instead of visiting his title company. At 1 p.m., he was giving Pam good news. instead of checking for disclosure documents. And by the time Dr. Espinoza wrote the day's last prescription, someone else was at his home meeting a prospective buyer. You've got a life. We let you live it. We're realtors. Real estate is our life.
At Uniroyal, in order to make a point about our new nail guard tires, we added a few to our test track. Nail guard tires, designed to seal 90% of tread punctures, instantly and permanently. Only from Uniroyal.
I need to feel strong.
I need him.
Because we all need something different to feel our best, One A Day has created different formulas. One especially for women, one for men, and one for people over 50. One A Day. It's just what you need.
Welcome to My Mailboxes, etc. You know, this may look like a regular mailbox, but let me tell you the secret. You get a street address, not just a P.O. box number. That means we can sign for your FedEx shipments and other packages. You get an entire support staff. Where else are you going to be able to call and check your mail? I mean, come on, who's going to do that for you? We'll also forward that mail anywhere in the world. Can your mailbox do that?
You could win $50,000. Play What's in the Box, now at your neighborhood mailboxes, etc.
We're going to take a closer look tonight at some of the consequences for Americans of the global financial crisis. We have done it before, and we'll do it again.
Let me say, Congressman...
Today, the chairman of the Federal Reserve, Alan Greenspan, warned that continuing instability in the world's financial markets is beginning to take its toll here.
Despite the still very solid American economy as of now, there are really the first signs of erosion at the edges.
That is because, with a third of the world's economies now in recession, many American companies are simply selling less overseas. Here's a quick take on what some countries are facing. Brazil, Argentina, and Mexico are in financial turmoil. We know that Russia's an economic basket case.
It is a country in a very complicated situation.
The president of the Czech Republic in Washington today said that Russia would not get out of its mess for decades. In Asia, Indonesia is in a terrible state. Malaysia, South Korea, Thailand, none of them is in good shape. It's hard to know how bad things are in China, but they're not good. The financial markets in Hong Kong are faltering. The Japanese economy has been stagnant for 7 years now. Japan's banking system is in disarray. So it is no surprise to hear Mr. Greenspan telling the Congress what many Americans are already feeling. Two reports from the field. First, ABC's Jane Clayson.
In Long Beach, California, business has never been better at the nation's busiest port. Every day around the clock, cargo ships brimming with tons of goods from Asia are unloaded and transported to distribution centers like this one. Electronic equipment, clothes, toys, these are just some of the Asian products Americans cannot wait to buy.
On the import side, consumers have to be very happy because they're getting more and cheap and better goods. And that's one of the beauties of the global economy.
But the nature of the current global economy means that while these steel containers are coming into the U.S. full, tons of them are going back empty. The demand for American products is just not there. For example, a freighter ship arrives in Long Beach with more than 3,000 containers, full of everything from furniture to electronics. 24 hours later, it departs for Asia with 800 containers loaded with U.S. exports and nearly 1,500 empties. Shippers are losing hundreds of millions of dollars because of this one-way trade.
When you see these containers going out empty, what do you think?
I see dollar signs flying out the window.
But in Asia, there are still more goods to ship than there are containers. And as the holiday shopping season approaches, it's a scramble to find enough of them.
The bottleneck could lead desperate retailers to find other, more expensive transportation. Instead of shipping, for example, they might fly their goods here at more than 10 times the cost.
In America, that means Asian-made products might not be such a bargain. But right now, empty containers are. Jane Clayson, ABC News, Long Beach, California.
We have no expertise at all in the used container market, but everyone knows about tuna fish, right? ABC's Brian Rooney reports on the tuna overload.
In the Pacific Northwest, 100 boats holding thousands of pounds of frozen tuna are waiting for buyers.
In the 50 years since my family has been fishing albacore, I've never seen the market just
disappear.
A combination of events aggravated by the Asian financial crisis has hurt American tuna fishermen. In Japan and Asia, fewer people can afford those expensive raw fish dishes, particularly tuna. So Asian fishermen are trying to stay afloat, selling more tuna to American canners.
A lot of the Asian longliners have switched over to fish albacore for the American market, where they can be paid in dollars, and the dollar is so strong against the yen that it's favorable for them to do that.
The Americans catch a fish that is a little darker and oilier, although it is 40% cheaper. It's still not cheap enough for canners who prefer the Asian-caught fish.
It's whiter in color, it's lighter in texture, and it's lower in fat, which are all attributes that albacore consumers are interested in.
Some Americans stuck with a boatload of fish will lose everything, and many will at least lose money, because the people who catch tuna have themselves been caught in the global economy. Brian Rooney, ABC News, Los Angeles.
Just one other item. The trade relationship between the U.S. and Asia is so delicate, even an insect can cause a major commotion. The Asian long-horned beetle, in this case. The U.S. has announced it will ban the import of all Chinese goods shipped in wooden crates because the beetles, which live in the wood, escape and destroy American trees. The restrictions may well cost the Chinese billions of dollars. When we come back, the tiny eye in the sky, surveillance technology on the cutting edge.
Someday, jet aeroplanes will be invisible to radar waves.
Imagine man-made moons helping us to communicate.
Tomorrow, electronic highways in the sky will guide air travelers to their destination.
Year after year, Lockheed Martin takes the most amazing ideas about the future and makes them fly.
Since you and my little girl are moving away, there's one thing you need to know. 10-10-3-2-1.
You think she'll call her mother a lot?
Yes, and hopefully her father, too. But you'll be glad that 10-10-3-2-1 saves you big time on your phone bill.
Will they talk long?
That's the beauty part. It doesn't matter. 10-10-3-2-1 saves you 50% on every call over 20 minutes.
50%? That's big.
That's huge. So those half-hour talks with her mom are going to cost you a lot less.
Dad, are you giving away the family secrets?
I gave him the best one I have.
Dial 10-10-3-2-1 to save.
Give me land, lots of land, beneath the starry skies above. Don't fence me in, no, no, no. Let me ride through the wide open country that I love. But don't fence me in. I want to ride to the ridge where the west commences. Gaze at the moon till I lose my senses. Can't look at harbor.
Embassy Suites. See what a difference a stay makes.
Fence me in.
With all we have to do today, does it make sense to keep color on your hair for 30 minutes when you can get rid of the gray in 5? Just 5. Great color, body, and shine in 5 gentle minutes. Just 5. Smart hair color. Works for me.
What's the difference between Pillsbury cinnamon rolls and prepackaged? Wake up to Pillsbury cinnamon rolls.
Nothing compares.
ABC News has learned today that the authorities in Uganda, in East Africa, have arrested 2 men in connection with a plot to attack the U.S. Embassy and other international facilities in the Ugandan capital, Kampala. We are told that the men were arrested in a private vehicle at the border arriving from Kenya. The international treaty banning anti-personnel landmines is going into effect. It needed the approval of 40 countries, and today the African nation of Burkina Faso became number 40. The United States, as you may know, is adamantly opposed to the treaty. The U.S. says it needs the mines to protect American troops between the 2 Koreas. In Japan today, southwest of Tokyo, a powerful typhoon has caused severe flash flooding, washing away abandoned cars, in some cases like they were toys. More than a foot of rain fell in a day. At least 2 people were killed before the storm finally moved offshore. Tonight, in technology on the cutting edge, an example of really how far things have come and how fast they are moving. This is about surveillance, and it's pretty amazing. Here's ABC's Jack Smith.
When you think of high-tech spy planes, you think of this. But this? Yes, believe it or not, the Pentagon is funding research into these miniature flyers to be the spy planes of the future. They're called micro-air vehicles and could do things big planes can't, like fly through forests to find enemy troops or into buildings to look for hostages.
It's just like having a trained bird that you can send off and tell it exactly where to go, and you get to look through its eyes.
This breakthrough design, a 6-inch disc weighing less than 1.5 ounces and controlled from the ground, has flown for a quarter of an hour at speeds up to 42 miles an hour. Engineers have built an onboard camera smaller than a sugar cube. The pictures it sends back would let this revolutionary new type of vehicle help not just soldiers, but civilians. Microflyers could go into crippled nuclear reactors to assess damage, over crime scenes to help the police find criminals, through earthquake-ravaged structures to look for survivors. And, less benignly, they could also be used to spy on people.
The fly that's on the wall might not be a real fly, but it may be a mechanical fly listening into a conversation.
One big problem with going this small, you can't just scale down regular airplanes. It doesn't work.
As you get smaller and smaller, the air starts working like, say, molasses does when you push a knife through it.
Down at those sizes, we believe that flapping wing type aircraft might be the key to success.
You mean like an insect?
Like an insect, correct.
Engineers are even testing insect wings and insect-like designs to shrink microflyers down to things no larger than bumblebees, maybe in as little as 5 years. A new class of flying machines with eyes and ears too that can boldly go where no one has gone before, in places no human ever could. Jack Smith, ABC News, Pasadena, California.
As we said, amazing. When we come back, George Wallace and Alabama. They both changed.
Save some hot water. Too late! Honey, turn up the heat.
It is up.
Please let it be him. Let it be him. Please let it be him.
The gas-fueled complete heat system from Lennox.
It's him.
Virtually unlimited hot water and comfortable home heating in one unit. And it runs on economical natural gas, so it's super efficient.
Yes!
The Lennox Complete Heat System. Not just heat, complete heat.
Yes. Clean natural gas. Think what you'll save.
For the 14 million women who worry about light to moderate bladder control, now there's new Double Protection Compose Panty and Pad System. The Compose Panty and Pad fit together for double protection. There's a super absorbent disposable pad, but the real difference is the separate washable panty. It gives you double protection with a quilted panel that won't let wetness through. So why worry? Get double protection with Double Protection Compose. Protection that goes beyond the pad.
All-new Mitsubishi Galant. Totally new styling, nicely equipped at $17,990.
This week, the new 2020 premieres on 3 nights. Tonight, find out how not to get ripped off when you buy a car.
You won't find a lot of complaints because consumers simply don't know that they've been misled.
Join Sam Donaldson and me for the premiere of the new 2020 Wednesday.
A brief review of the lead story. The debate continues over whether to release the tape of President Clinton's grand jury testimony. ABC's Cokie Roberts says it is likely to happen. The story, in other regards, is growing meaner, or the situation is. 2 reporters tell ABC News that a White House official has told them there are stories about sexual indiscretions by Republican congressmen, and one got published today, as you know, involving Henry Hyde, the chairman of the Judiciary Committee. Mr. Hyde calls it an attempt to intimidate him. Finally this evening, farewell to a legend. And George Wallace was a legend in his own time. For many people in the country, Wallace will always be a symbol of Southern racism. Alabama was certainly mired in racial animosity when Governor Wallace made his famous inaugural Segregation Forever speech in 1963. Several of us in this news organization, including John Cochran, covered one or more of Governor Wallace's presidential political adventures, and we all have mixed emotions about him. But he changed and Alabama changed. John Cochran went to the funeral today.
On the day they buried George Wallace, Alabama youngsters played and studied together without regard to race. It's ancient history to them that there was once a governor who vowed segregation forever. Alabamians also worked together in a Mercedes plant that would never have located here in Wallace's heyday. The state's image was too racist in the 1960s. And yet, Alabama gave him a farewell unlike any since the funeral of the legendary football coach Bear Bryant. For Wallace, like Bryant, gave Alabamians the feeling that those damn Yankees were finally paying attention to them. Journalist Bob Ingram covered Wallace for 40 years.
Alabama has always had, the people have had an inferiority complex. And here was one of our own running for president of the United States. Most Alabamians were just busted with pride.
That may explain why so many whites honored Wallace today, but blacks were here too. Some came for a last look at a man they still regard as evil.
I say it's like looking in the face of evil, yes.
But most have made their peace with George Wallace.
I don't personally believe he was a racist, but if he was a racist, I forgive him because he asked forgiveness.
I don't know if I could say that I liked him as he was, but I have grown to love him as he became.
I consider George Wallace a great man.
Wallace's friends say at the end, nothing meant more to him than having blacks forgive him. Today, his funeral procession passed by one of the many places he went seeking forgiveness, Martin Luther King's former church. A recent TV movie shows Wallace totally dependent on a black attendant who wheels him into the church. That really happened. The movie also portrays the attendant as seething with anger. He even considers murdering Wallace. That was fiction. In real life, Wallace considered that black man his best friend. And if people found irony in that, Wallace didn't care. He was still his best friend. And today, that friend who had shared Wallace's long, pain-racked nights said goodbye. Wallace's life was a long journey with some strange twists. At the end, he felt most blacks believed his change of heart was genuine. And friends said he was ready to go.
Goodbye.
That's our report on World News Tonight. Now, don't miss the premiere of the new 2020 Wednesday with Sam Donaldson and Diane Sawyer. And on Nightline this evening, they're going to deal with the House Judiciary Committee and the prospects of releasing those videotapes. I'm Peter Jennings. Have a good evening and good night.
Tomorrow, hate your HMO? You're not alone, and a new study proves it. Wait till you hear what other people have to say. Watch ABC's World News Tonight with Peter Jennings.
This has been a presentation of ABC News. More Americans get their news from ABC News than from any other source. ABC News, now always on.